Okay, so we're here checking out your code, and admittedly, it took me a really long time to find the errors in the code, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it's not going to be a real obvious answer, and you'll just need to go very carefully through your code until you can figure out what's going wrong. The first thing I like to do is always just play test the game. And see what kind of problems are happening. So as soon as I start the game, right now it doesn't matter if I move the thumbstick or the arrow keys. My little plate is just not going anywhere. Okay, it's just kind of stuck on the left side of the screen. So obviously we're gonna want to fix that. All right. So this is what I'm just gonna give to you because, like I said, it was really difficult to find. Obviously, anything that has to do with your plate moving or user input, right, is going to be either in the get user input method. It could be that, potentially the program is not getting the user input when I'm pressing the arrow keys and the thumbstick, or it could be that it is getting the information that I'm pressing the buttons, but is not knowing what to do with that information, or not correctly behaving with that information. Okay, so the other place you would look besides get user input would be move user controlled sprites, and that's where we actually take the user input and then we tell the game what to do with that user input, alright, and tell it to use those, to go ahead and move those sprites, alright. In this case, that would be the plate sprite that we've got going on there. So, everything in the get user input method looks fine, and you do have it called in your update method, so that all looks good. So the problem is actually in move user controlled sprites. Now, basically what we have here is something that says, hey, if the left key is being pressed, move the plate, which all sounds great. If the right key is being pressed, move the plate. It sounds good too. But right after that, it also says, hey, the position of the plate now, regardless of what we made the position of the plate up here, we're saying, hey, now, the position of the plate is going to be equal to the thumbstick, the right thumbstick's position in x times 5. So basically, no matter what we made sprite position x up here, because this is coming after that, it's giving a new value to this sprite position x. Okay, it's saying, hey, up here, sprite position x equals this, sprite position x equals this thing. But once we get down here, all that doesn't matter, because right now, sprite position x equals the thumbstick. All right, the position of the thumbstick times 5. That's great and all, except for when it's just equal to the thumbstick like that, it's always going to wind up going over to the left, as you saw. So what we actually want to do is add, rather than make it equivalent to, okay? So what we actually want here is plus equals, okay? So that's going to take wherever, the plate is right now, the position of the plate, and then it's going to add to it, alright, the movement of the thumbstick, okay? So instead of replacing this position, it's now just adding to that position, okay? If that makes any sense. So once we run it now, we're no longer stuck on the left side of the screen because we're no longer replacing that position value. Now the program is able to remember what position we were in and just add to it. Okay, add or subtract depending on, left or right. But so that's why that was having some issues. Other than that, if you come up to where you're changing your game state, which is actually down here, I think, in yours. Okay, yeah, right here. Change game state, right? This looks pretty good, and it actually works just fine if you play test the game. It will work, but, it's not necessarily quite the way we want it. So a couple errors here. You've got here, if the game state is 86 and the B button is, basically saying if the B button is pressed and released, then go ahead and make the game state be and now, gameplay mode and reset everything. So we actually want this one to say pressed, okay? So that we're saying, hey, if the B button is pressed and it wasn't pressed before, go ahead and do this stuff. Alright? Now it just kind of works out that actually that works either way, but this is really a much cleaner way of presenting it, okay, when you're doing your coding. And then also, right down here you've got if int game state equals 85. And as you know, the game state that we're looking for is 86. Alright, so it's 86 up here. That's our end game, okay? And so 86 right here as well. Just make sure that you change that to the correct game state, and that should alleviate any troubles that you're having with the game states later on down the road when you're adding more stuff. Other than that, one more little quick note. Right here you have your test for collisions section, but you have test for collisions, so it still works because it's spelled wrong everywhere. So, obviously Visual Studio can't actually spell. It doesn't know, you can type anything in there, and as long as you type it the same way every time in the right places, it doesn't matter what you put in there. But just for the sake of having clean, readable code, just in case, there's other people who are going to get in there and try and use this code, or, in case you happen to spell it correctly the next time that you use it and then, it doesn't match anymore, just make sure that you just, pay attention to your spelling there and make sure it all looks good, and, that'll help you later on down the road. So, that's pretty much it. Sorry it took so long to get back to you. I was a little stumped there with that one for a while. So, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any more questions, and happy coding!